be in the building, then I cannot be out here. If I'm not in the building,
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Aylmer, Ontario. Well, folks, for the fourth Sunday in a row, against the wishes of local law enforcement here in Aylmer, the Church of God is proceeding with their service. Now, here's the interesting thing. The law enforcement was coming down hard on the Church of God, warning that there would be fines issued last Sunday. Well, we covered the story. We had an exclusive interview last Monday with the pastor, and they said, well, they hadn't been charged yet, and that this Sunday service would be going ahead, and sure enough, the parking lot is starting to fill up. Now, I think perhaps our coverage had something to do with law enforcement backing off, and at the end of the day, what is the problem? The people in this Church of God, they are staying in their vehicles. They keep their windows rolled up. They are listening to the sermon via an FM radio frequency. I mean, not even the collection plate is being passed around. This is social distancing to the nth degree. Everybody is in a hermetically sealed vehicle. So what's the problem? Nobody's going inside the church. There's no contact being had within the prescribed 2-meter distance. And you know, it's kind of funny, folks. I think this poster says it all, doesn't it? Liquor store, open for business. Abortion clinic, open for business. But a church, well, you know what? Close and stay away. And that's the other thing, too, about this saga of religious freedom in this day and age of the Wuhan virus. My colleague, Kian Bexty in Calgary, has profiled 2 street preachers who were given massive fines for doing that egregious action known as feeding the homeless. And I went to Cornwall, Ontario last month to speak to a pastor there who had a total of 5 adults and 2 children in his house for a Passover dinner. Well, wouldn't you know it, a neighbor snitched. He's got an $880 ticket. And of course, the Church of God continues to be harassed, even though I can't see anything medically offside. And by the same token, earlier this week, in many Ontario municipalities, including Toronto and Mississauga and Ajax, mosques were being exempt from the noise bylaws, which allows them to broadcast the call to prayer every sunset from now until May 23rd. But in addition to getting an exemption to an existing law, why would you broadcast a call to a prayer to a mosque that is locked down, much like every church and synagogue and Hindu temple and so on? So I think there is clearly a double standard when it comes to religions, when it comes to these Wuhan 19 coronavirus, whatever you want to call this disease. There's clearly a double standard at play. And well, at least this Church of God here in Aylmer, Ontario, they're not going to take it. They are exercising in a safe fashion their freedom of religion. And the sermon is going to kick off in about half an hour. The parking lot is starting to fill up. And we'll just see if law enforcement is going to play its hand as they promised to do earlier last week. Well, folks, it's just after 10:30 and the service has indeed started. I can tell you it is an overflow crowd. There are more cars here today than there were last week.
If I can't be in the building, then I can at least be out here. If I'm not in the building, at least I can be out here. Church time. It's Sunday morning, and we are not giving in for the Philistines. I'm talking about the devil. We are standing for God.
Blink your lights if you want to know what non-essential means. All right, here we go. Non-essential means having little or no importance. So in this world sadness that we're in right now, in all the hurt across this wide world, church is of little or no importance. Folks, I disagree.
Amen.
Liquor stores are an essential service, but places of faith, not so essential.
Yes, I agree. And I wholeheartedly support what he said, that churches are absolutely important, especially in this time. And that's why I'm here today, to support the people of God with the right to worship the Lord in their way and at their time.
The fact that you can go to the liquor store and buy alcohol, but I can't go and worship God. It's mind-blowing. And what I find scarier is that there are churches all around Canada that are rolling over and going, that's okay.
And we'll do it on private property. We'll do it on the church parking lot. But we're not bowing down to the image.
Pastor, you made some very profound points. One is the dichotomy when it comes to what is and is not an essential service. So liquor stores, lottery tickets, that show's got to go on. Places of faith like this have to be shut down and even harassed by law enforcement. What do you think? What is the core of this?
To me, like I said in the sermon this morning, to me the core is that perhaps in the past years we have been complacent. We as the church have not risen to the occasion. Had we done that, which we will do, then it will not be a problem for them to call us non-essential. They'll realize how essential it is.
And there seems to be a stereotype, isn't there, Pastor, around the world that, being Christian almost means rolling over, even if your rights are being trampled on. I remember once coming across a book called No More Christian Nice Guy. Do you think that's what's needed? You've got to stand up and fight, as you said, not physically, of course, but stand up and fight for your rights, including your charter rights to congregate and worship in a safe fashion.
Well, I say we have plenty of Bible for it, not only condoning it, but telling us how to do it, like we read this morning in the sermon. The people in the morning time did it, the people in the Bible time did it. What is our excuse for laying down and not doing it? We must stand and rise to the occasion.
Well, folks, the service is just wrapped up. It was an overflow crowd. The parking lot was filled. The field had cars on it. There were cars on the shoulder of the highway. And I guess the vibe I got from some of the parishioners is that being Christian, we're told it's all about turning the other cheek. But there comes a point when enough is enough, and I think Pastor Hildebrandt made some incredible points, such as decades ago in Ontario, stores by law were not allowed to be open on Sunday, and of course churches and other places of worship would be open on a Sunday. And now here we are in 2020, and the stores, at least select stores, are open, and the churches are forced to close. I find that a somewhat perverse irony as well. As for law enforcement, we saw a unmarked car observing the service from the highway. We'll just have to find out in the hours or days ahead if this time they're going to come through on their threats and lay charges. Now, here's the funny thing when it comes to social distancing, folks. I'm in the parking lot of Ryan's No Frills. It is not even a kilometer down the street from the Church of God. There are far more cars parked here in the parking lot. And lo and behold, if you look at the lineup of people waiting to get in and buy their groceries, and I don't begrudge them that. We've all got to eat after all. But still, I wonder if this is all about preventing cross-contamination and preventing the spread of the virus. Where, oh where, is the Aylmer police and the OPP and bylaw and other law enforcement? Nope, they're too busy harassing a church in which everyone remained in their car, windows up, to take in the service. Sorry, that does not compute. And in the meantime, as the pastor said, he will be back here next Sunday at 10:30 here at the Church of God in Aylmer, Ontario. And I'm sure there'll be even more congregants showing up as word of this spreads. Hey, to paraphrase that old spiritual song, like the tree by the river, they shall not be moved. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, have you been unnecessarily fined or harassed by bylaw or law enforcement during these dark days of the Wuhan virus? Well, if you got a case, tell it to us And if we think it has merits, we'll pick up your case. We will fight it in a court of law, and we will crowdfund your legal fees. Please go to fightthefines.com. That's fightthefines.com, and tell us your story. And folks, if you don't have a story to tell, but you'd like to chip in a few bucks to help us crowdfund these legal cases, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.